Hey, it's going to be okay.
I know, but it still hurts.
I'm right here with you.
Don't look at me right now. The words slipped from Risse's lips in a broken whisper, just as the waiting room lights flickered and a distant airport announcement echoed like it came from another world. Her hands covered her face, but the tears still escaped, falling one by one onto the cold marble floor that reflected her trembling figure. Bruno stopped walking. He wasn't supposed to be there. Managers, security, tour schedules, everything told him to leave, but his feet refused to move. There was something in the way Risse sat hunched on that plastic chair, her oversized black jacket swallowing her frame, her shoulders rising and falling as she held back sobs, that made his chest tighten. The waiting room was quiet, too quiet for two people whose lives were usually wrapped in cheers and blinding lights. The smell of cold coffee mixed with antiseptic, harsh white lamps burned overhead, and the wall clock ticked loudly, as if counting every second of unspoken pain. Risse wasn't crying loudly. She cried like someone who had been strong for far too long, like someone finally exhausted from carrying feelings that were never given a name. Bruno sat beside her without a sound. There was no hug, no comforting words, just a distance of a few centimeters that felt more dangerous than the biggest stage he had ever stood on. His hand lifted hesitantly, then froze in the air, as if afraid that a single touch might shatter something fragile between them. Another tear slipped down Risse's cheek. This time, Bruno didn't think. He just moved. His thumb brushed her cheek gently, wiping away the still warm tear. The touch was light, almost imperceptible, yet strong enough to make Risse go still. She didn't turn away. She didn't say thank you. She didn't pull back. She simply took a long, shaky breath. Bruno could feel his own heartbeat at the tip of his fingers. There were so many things he wanted to say. About the nights he wrote songs while thinking of Risse's voice. About how he always knew when her smile was fake. About the guilt of choosing silence over truth. But silence was the only safe language. Risse finally spoke, her voice hoarse. "I'm tired, not because of the tour, but because of pretending I don't feel anything." The words hit Bruno harder than any roar from the crowd. He slowly withdrew his hand and clenched it on his lap. There was no stage smile on his face, no superstar charisma, just a man terrified that if one more word escaped, everything would change forever. "Me too," he finally said, short, honest, dangerous. Risse turned her head. Their eyes met for the first time that night, red, wet, filled with questions they were too afraid to ask. Their world, usually flooded with spotlights, cameras, and thousands of watching eyes, shrank into a small waiting room with 2 chairs and a truth too heavy to ignore. That moment was small. There were no witnesses, no recordings, no headlines. But that was where everything shifted. Risse didn't realize her hand was still shaking until Bruno quietly wrapped both of his around it. The waiting room clock clicked past midnight. Outside the glass wall, runway lights blurred in the mist like distant stars falling to earth. Somewhere far down the corridor, a camera shutter snapped, too loud, too sharp. Both of them looked up at the same time. Bruno's jaw tightened. "They're here." Risse pulled her hand back instinctively, wiping the last trace of tears from her face. Her public mask tried to return, but it didn't fit right anymore. "How?" This floor was supposed to be closed. "It was," Bruno said softly. "Nothing stays closed when rumors start breathing." She let out a bitter, trembling laugh. "Rumors, that's what we're calling it now." Before he could answer, his phone lit up violently in his pocket, message after message, stacked like falling dominoes. He glanced at the screen and exhaled through his teeth. His manager, label executives, a PR alert, a trending tag already forming like a storm cloud. He didn't show her. He didn't need to. She already knew that look. She had lived inside that look for years. "I should go," she whispered. He didn't move. "If you stand up right now," Bruno said quietly, "they'll get the photo they want, a headline with teeth. And if I stay?" His eyes lifted to hers, unguarded, burning. "They'll get something worse, the truth." Footsteps approached, fast, purposeful, Security voices murmured into radios. The tension in the air turned metallic. Risay leaned forward, elbows on her knees, fingers pressed to her lips. "Do you ever wish," she said, voice low, "that you were nobody for one day?" Bruno almost smiled. "I was nobody once." And it was quieter, but it never sounded like you. Her breath caught. The words hit too close, too intimate, too unfiltered. She turned to him fully now, searching his face like she was done pretending she didn't know what lived there. "You can't say things like that," she said. "Not to me." "Why not?" "Because you never finish them." The corridor noise grew louder. A flash bounced off the far wall, someone testing a lens. Security cursed under their breath. Bruno leaned in slightly, voice dropping. "You want the finished version." Her heartbeat was suddenly visible in her throat. "Don't," she whispered, but she didn't move away. "I write songs I never release," he said. "I save voice notes I never send. I walk away when I should stay. Every smart decision I've made in my career," his voice roughened. "I break them all when it comes to you." Risay inhaled sharply, like the air had turned thin. "That's not fair." "Neither is silence." A guard appeared at the hallway corner and signaled urgently. 2 minutes, maybe less. Risay stood abruptly, packing once, twice. Her emotions were no longer quiet tears, they were sparks. "You think this is simple? If this gets out, they won't call it love. They'll call it scandal, strategy, manipulation. They'll tear it apart until it looks ugly." Bruno stood too. "Then let them be wrong. You're not the one they'll blame first." "I don't care." "I do," the word cracked out of her. Raw, exposed. "I care because I know how this ends for women. I care because I've watched careers burn over less than a rumor and a look." He stepped closer, not touching, close enough that the space between them felt electric. "Look at me and tell me you feel nothing," he said. Her eyes flooded again, not weak but furious with feeling. "I tried," she breathed. "For months, I dated noise, I dated distance. I dated people who didn't write songs about my laugh without realizing it." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I realized." The confession hung there, dangerous and alive. A camera flash exploded from the glass wall. Both of them turned too late. A photographer outside had climbed onto a service barrier and shot straight through the reflection gap. The image was captured. 2 silhouettes, inches apart, faces undone. The kind of moment that didn't look friendly no matter how you explained it. Security rushed forward, blocking the angle, shouting. Risay closed her eyes. "It's over." "No," Bruno said. "It started." She looked at him like she didn't know whether to be angry or break. "You don't get to be fearless for both of us." "Then be scared with me." Sirens wailed faintly outside, press vans redirecting, phones vibrating nonstop now. He reached into his jacket and pulled out something small and worn, folded paper, softened by time. She frowned through tears. "What is that?" "The song I never released," he said. "The one you asked about last winter." Her expression changed. Shock, recognition, something trembling and bright. "You said it wasn't finished." "It was," he placed it in her hand. "It is now." She unfolded it with unsteady fingers. Her lips moved silently over the first line, and then she stopped breathing. Because the title wasn't a metaphor. It was her name. Risay pressed the paper to her chest like it might keep her heart from breaking open. When she looked up, whatever wall she had left was gone. "This is reckless," she whispered. Bruno's answer was steady. "So is loving you quietly." The hallway erupted with noise again, doors opening, voices calling his name, her name, the machine of the world roaring back to life. But in the center of it, for one suspended, burning moment, they stood still. No stage, no script, no safe distance. Just 2 people on the edge of a truth too big to hide and too late to bury. The first shout hit before the doors fully opened. "Bruno, Risay, are you together, yes or no?" The question sliced through the corridor like glass. Security pushed forward, arms wide, but the damage was already done. Cameras surged. Light burst after light. The quiet waiting room moment shattered into noise and heat and accusation. Risay's fingers tightened around the folded lyric sheet in her hand. Instinct said hide it. Heart said hold it. She did neither. She slipped it inside her sleeve like a secret stitched into skin. Bruno stepped half a pace in front of her. Not enough to be obvious, enough to be intentional. Back up, one guard barked. Another reporter shouted, "Were you crying? Is this a breakup meeting or a confession?" Risay almost laughed at how wrong and how close they were at the same time. They were rushed through a side exit into a service elevator that smelled like oil and metal. The doors slammed shut. Silence dropped hard. Only their breathing remained. Risay leaned back against the wall and stared at the ceiling. That photo is already everywhere. Yes, Bruno said. You don't even need to check. I know how fast fire travels when it smells like truth. Her eyes slid toward him. You still think this is truth? I stopped calling it anything else tonight. The elevator descended. Each floor ding felt like a countdown to consequences. She studied him in the harsh overhead light. No stage persona, no charm shield, just tension in his jaw and something almost defiant in his calm. It irritated her. It drew her closer. You're too steady, she said. I'm not steady. You look it. That's rehearsal. Inside, I'm a mess. Good, she whispered, because I am too. The doors opened to the underground parking level. Engines idled. 2 black vehicles waited. Managers stood beside them like storm clouds in human form. Bruno's manager moved first. What did you do? Good to see you too, Bruno replied. Don't joke. His manager shoved a phone forward. The screen showed the photo, grainy but devastating. Their silhouettes, their proximity, Risay's tear-streaked face, Bruno's hand lifted near her cheek. It looked like the frame right before a kiss. Risay's manager turned to her. Tell me this is angle and exhaustion. Risay met her gaze. It's angle and truth. That's not an acceptable sentence right now. Bruno spoke evenly. Don't put this on her. Both managers snapped. We're putting this on both of you. The air turned sharp. Risay crossed her arms. Say what you actually mean. Her manager didn't hesitate. If this becomes romantic publicly, endorsements freeze, contracts get reviewed, fandoms split, narratives get weaponized. You will be called calculated or reckless. Pick your poison. Bruno let out a humorless breath. You forgot human. No one buys human, the manager said. They buy story. Risay stepped closer, eyes burning. Then maybe the story should be real. Real doesn't trend safely, came the reply. A notification chorus erupted across all their phones at once. The tag had exploded. Edits, zooms, lip-read attempts, body language breakdown threads. The internet had built a courtroom in under 10 minutes. Bruno looked at Risay. Ride with me. Both managers answered instantly. No. Risay did too, but softer. That's gasoline. Everything is gasoline now, Bruno said. At least choose the fire you're in. Her manager grabbed her wrist lightly. You're coming with us. Risay gently pulled free. Not dramatic, final. Give me 10 minutes. Risay. 10. Something in her tone ended the argument. She walked to Bruno's car without looking back. He opened the door for her. The gesture was small, automatic, intimate in a way cameras would have feasted on. Down here, only concrete pillars watched. Inside the car, the world muted. Thick glass, low engine hum. City lights smeared across the windows as they pulled out. For a full minute, neither spoke. Then Risay laughed once, breathless. We just detonated 3 PR departments. Minimum, Bruno said. She turned to him suddenly. Why didn't you deny it? Because they didn't ask the right question. What is the right question? He met her eyes. Do you want me to? Her pulse stumbled. Anger and longing collided. You answer questions with questions. It's infuriating. It's honest. She leaned closer, voice lower, charged. Honest would be saying what you almost said in that room. I did say it. You said pieces. Pieces are safer. I don't want safe tonight. The words hung between them like heat lightning. Traffic slowed. Red brake lights washed the car interior in blood-warm glow. Bruno's gaze dropped briefly to her lips, then back to her eyes, not subtle, not accidental. You're shaking, he said. So are you. Not from fear. From what then? You. That should have felt like a line. It didn't. It landed like confession. Risay exhaled through parted lips. You don't get to say that and sit calmly. I'm not calm, he said quietly. I'm holding the steering wheel so I don't touch you without permission. Silence detonated into awareness. Her voice came softer now, more dangerous. And if I didn't stop you? I wouldn't stop. The car rolled forward again. Neither looked away. Her phone rang, video call from her label head. She declined it. It rang again, declined, again. She powered the phone off and dropped it into the cup holder like she was cutting a wire on a bomb. Controversial enough for you? Bruno asked. I'm just getting started. They reached a private studio garage instead of a hotel. Unexpected. She looked at him. Why are we here? Because if the world is going to write a story tonight, he said, parking, I'm not letting them write the ending. Inside, the studio was dark except for one live room lamp and a piano under it. Familiar, quiet, sacred. Risay stepped in slowly. You hide here. I breathe here. She walked to the piano, touched a key. The note echoed, lonely and pure. Play me the song, she said. Which one? The one with my name you were brave enough to write, and too afraid to release. Bruno removed his jacket, sat, flexed his fingers once, then began. The melody was raw, unfinished edges, aching intervals, space between chords like held breath. Risay didn't move. Tears returned, but different now. Not collapse, recognition. Halfway through, she spoke over the music. If you play that live, it confirms everything. I know. If you don't, it becomes a ghost that eats us. I know. He stopped playing, looked up. Sing with me. Her eyes widened. You're insane. Always. This is how scandals become history. This is how truth becomes sound. She stared at him, then at the microphone, then back. Fear, want, defiance, all visible. Fine, she whispered, but if this burns, we burn honest. They recorded it in one take, imperfect, shaking, electric. Their voices collided and healed each other in real time. No masks, no branding, just two people stepping over the line they pretended didn't exist. When the final note faded, the room rang with aftermath. Risay laughed through tears. That was reckless. Bruno nodded, and real. Outside, phones kept exploding. Headlines multiplied, narratives twisted. Inside, for the first time since the first camera flash, neither of them felt hunted. Only exposed. Only alive. The file finished uploading at 02:17 a.m. Neither of them touched the screen. The studio monitor showed the frozen waveform of their duet, two voices braided in confession. The title field still held only one word, her. The cursor blinked like a pulse. Risay stood behind Bruno's chair, fingers resting lightly on the backrest, close enough that he could feel her warmth through the thin cotton of his shirt. The air in the studio was thick with leftover sound, with risk, with something far more dangerous than attraction, decision. Once that leaks, she said quietly, there is no version of this that looks accidental. I'm not interested in accidental anymore, Bruno answered. That's not what scares me. He turned slightly. What does? That I'm not either. Their eyes met through the reflection of the dark screen. For a second, it felt like they were looking at future versions of themselves, older, braver, already blamed by the world and relieved by the truth. His phone exploded across the console with another alert wave. This time he checked. His expression shifted, not panic, not surprise, recognition. They got the elevator angle, he said. Risay leaned over his shoulder. The new photo was worse, clearer. his hand near her face, her eyes wet, the intimacy undeniable. Risay swallowed. Collapse, she repeated softly. They always call it collapse when a woman cries. Bruno looked up at her. Then let's give them something stronger than that word. Her voice sharpened. You keep talking like a man with nothing to lose. He stood, suddenly close, too close for comfort, too close for safety. I'm talking like a man who already lost the chance once. Her breath caught. What chance? You, he said, no hesitation. The confession didn't land like fireworks. It landed like gravity. Risay searched his face for performance. Found none. That almost hurt more. When? She asked. Last year, after the charity show in Tokyo. You waited for me backstage with that ridiculous neon hoodie and cold noodles you hated but ate anyway. His voice softened. You almost told me something. I almost asked you to stay. We both chose professionalism like cowards. I remember, she whispered. You hugged me like it was goodbye. It was supposed to be. Why wasn't it? Because I kept writing your name in melodies like a problem I couldn't solve. The studio door burst open without a knock. Both managers entered at once, followed by a legal advisor and a PR director who looked like she hadn't blinked in hours. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. There better be a good reason your trackers brought us here, Risay's manager said. Bruno didn't flinch. We recorded something. I don't want poetic answers. I want damage reports. Risay stepped forward. We recorded a song. The silence that followed was nuclear. The PR director spoke first. Tell me you didn't. Bruno folded his arms. We did. Delete it. No. Immediately. No. Risay's manager stared at her. You too. Risay surprised herself with how steady she felt. Especially me. The legal advisor rubbed his forehead. If that song confirms emotional involvement, every existing narrative hardens. You move from rumor to storyline. Storylines don't die. Bruno's voice cooled. Neither does truth. Truth doesn't pay breach penalties, the advisor snapped. Risay walked to the console and hit play. The room filled with their voices, fragile, intertwined, devastatingly sincere. No auto-tune armor, no image control, just longing, restraint, and the unmistakable sound of two people emotionally undressed. No one spoke during playback. By the second chorus, the PR director looked like she might cry despite herself. By the final note, even the legal advisor had stopped pretending this was just strategy. It's beautiful, he muttered, then caught himself. It's also catastrophic. Risay turned. Why is beauty always treated like a threat? Because it makes people pick sides, the PR director said softly. Bruno leaned against the desk. Good, let them pick. Risay's manager stepped closer, voice low and sharp. Answer one question clearly. Are you too romantically involved? The room locked onto them. Risay looked at Bruno. Bruno looked at Risay. 1,000 private moments flashed between them. The waiting room tears, the elevator tension, the piano confession, the almost touch in the car. Risay spoke first. Define involved. Her manager closed his eyes briefly. Don't play with wording. Bruno answered this time. Emotionally, yes. Every device in the room started vibrating again, like an earthquake of notifications. The PR director checked her tablet and went pale. It's trending #1 globally now, not just the photo. A leak thread claims you've been meeting privately for months. They have dates. Risay frowned. We haven't. Bruno's eyes narrowed. Someone building a pattern. Someone inside, the director said. This level of detail doesn't come from guessing. Betrayal changed the air. This was no longer just romance and scandal. This was targeting. Risay felt anger replace fear. Release the song. Forehead snapped toward her. Her manager almost shouted. Absolutely not. Yes, she said louder. Release it before they twist the story into something dirty. We define the emotion or they weaponize it. Bruno watched her with something like awe. That's my vote too. The PR director paced. If you release, you confirm connection. Risay lifted her chin. Connection is not a crime. The director stopped, looked between them, saw the immovable line. You're both really willing to burn for this, she said quietly. Bruno answered, we're willing to stand. Another alert hit. This one froze everyone. A short video clip surfaced, security cam angle from the waiting room. Silent, black and white, but unmistakable. Risay crying. Bruno wiping her tears, lingering, gentle, intimate beyond spin. Risay covered her mouth. They got the room. Bruno's voice went hard. That feed is private. The legal advisor swore under his breath. Not anymore. The PR director looked up slowly. You have maybe 1 hour before every outlet runs this with their own invented dialogue. Risay turned to Bruno, eyes blazing through the fear. Then we don't run. He held her gaze. We step forward. The room felt like the edge of a cliff. Release it, Risay repeated. Bruno reached for the keyboard. This time, no one told him no.